Hello, I'm Simon and welcome to the SciRob YouTube channel. I'm going to be fitting this SSD to this Dell computer, Dell laptop, which has a standard hard drive. The laptop works absolutely fantastically, but you get a speed boost from SSD, so I'm going to show you how simple the process can be. It's 150 gigabyte hard drive on the laptop, and I'm putting in 120 gigabyte SSD, which is no problem because the full 150 isn't being used. There's going to be linked in the description for this and other SSDs which I've used an awful lot, so they're SSDs that I can vouch for, so do check the description. You're going to need a lead. So this particular one is a SATA to eSATA. That's if your laptop has a eSATA port. I've used this and get about 50 megabytes a second on the transfer, and it works extremely well. But in this video, just to make it as universal as possible, and because most laptops have USB, I'm using this USB 3 to SATA cable in order to do the cloning process. Even though the laptop only has USB 2, you can still use a USB 3 cable. You'll just get USB 2 speeds, but I bought this because I sometimes work on laptops with USB 3. And so it's all very simple. It just the lead plugs straight into the SSD. It can only go one way, and I'm doing it from behind the camera, so that's probably why I'm making it look far more difficult than it actually is. So in it goes there. Just make sure you've got no gap between the blue and the black there, so that's in nice and easy. And then I'm going to plug that into the laptop USB, and it gets recognized there. Now it may not appear instantly in the program that I'm going to use. I'm going to be using Aomei Backupper, which is this program just here. Free program, and there will be a link in the description, and I'm just going to be using the clone facility just there, and then disk clone a hard disk drive to another. So we've got the disk that we're going to be using, and then we've got the disk that we're going to be cloning to. It says that it can't be cloned at the moment, and that's probably because it needs to be initialized. So all I'm going to do is go into disk management, DISK, and then create and format hard disk partitions. So I'm just going to come out of Aomei at the moment. Let's just come out of Aomei just so it doesn't confuse things. So as you can see in the disk management, here is the SSD unallocated and not initialized. So I'm just going to right click on it and initialize, and it's asking for whether you want MBR or GPT. So if you're unsure, I'm just going to do what I know works on this laptop. So I'm just going to go to the disk that I'm going to be cloning, right click on that, then click on properties, then click on volumes, and this one is set up, the original one is set up as MBR, so I'm just going to use MBR as the format for the SSD. So I'm going to right click on the SSD, initialize, MBR is chosen, I'm going to click OK. So I'm just going to open up Aomei Backupper, see if it's happy yet for me to do the cloning. So I click on clone, disk clone. So that's the source disk, that's what it's asking first, source disk, next. And then destination disk is this one here, which has been set up, and then next. And it's ready to do the clone. Now, before I do this though, what I'm going to just quickly show you, this is entirely optional, but it's just something that I like to do on all the laptops. is just to make sure everything's all in order on the original disk and the system in general. So Windows Update is up to date. This is on a Windows 10 system. So I know Windows is up to date. You go into this PC. This is the original hard drive here. I'm going to right click and go into Properties. Then I go into Tools. I've already done the error check. It's up to you whether you want to do the error check. And in Optimize, that's where you do defragmentation. So this can take various amounts of time depending on how your disk is set up. But basically, I just analyse both the disks just to make sure, yeah, and neither of them are fragmented. So we're good to go there. So like I said, that's optional. You don't have to do that, but that's my preference. I've also got the internet turned off as well because I don't want any interruptions whilst the cloning takes place. So we're ready to go. So we'll go again and go clone, disk clone, source disk, which is the one which is used at the moment. Click next, destination disk, which is this one here, unallocated. Click next. Then you've got these options here. So I would not do the sector by sector clone. I find it unnecessary and it slows down the whole process. And I'm also going to align the partition. I am going to check this box to align the partition to optimize for SSD. And that's it. So even though the source disk is 30 gigabytes larger than the destination disk, because the data actually being transferred is much less, then the difference in disk size doesn't make any difference. And we're going to start the clone. So if you have a look at the time down there, we're at 2042, and we'll come back to it when it's done. So just to show you a bit of progress, so we've got obviously the SSD plugged in just there, and you get an update showing you how everything's moving. It tells you how much data has been moved so far compared to how much data is still to be moved, and it gives you a transfer speed there. So at the moment it's 1616 megabytes per second. This is doing USB 2. That's why I do prefer to use eSATA if it's available on the laptop, because you just get much faster transfer speeds. But it depends on your laptop. You just have what you have, so that's it. So it's saying there's 38 minutes remaining, but obviously if your transfer speed is much higher, then you'd have less time remaining. So there we go, everything's all done. I forgot to mention as well, whilst it's doing the transfer, especially if you've got a lot of data and it's going to take several hours or whatever, you have this little checkbox where you can tell it what to do when it's finished. So if you run it overnight, you can make it automatically shut down your PC or restart your PC, hibernate it or sleep. So disk clone is all done there. So I'll click finish. Job done there, and it's just a case now of swapping the disks over and seeing if it's worked. Okay, so we've got the battery removed here. I also pressed the power switch on just to discharge any electricity. On this Dell laptop, this is why I love working on older laptops. It's very simple. It's just this one screw just here. That then allows the old hard drive to come out, and then we're just going to take the caddy off. Just one Phillips screw again just here. That releases the caddy. When we line up the new drive, goes exactly like that. One tab in there, line up the hole there. slide that in. And we replace the screw, refit the screw there, and slide the battery back on. And then we just turn it on. Hopefully everything will burst into life and it will turn on and log in perfectly. That's a good sign. Windows 10 logo coming up. And that's it. So if I now go into this PC, and as you can see that this is all in real time. Yeah, there it is with the SSD there. So yeah, so it's all sorted, and basically for starting from about £20 for, you know, an SSD and a lead, you can have a full clone of your system, full backup, and you get the performance upgrade as well from having the SSD. So certainly well worth doing. So there we go. Hope you find that useful, and thanks very much for watching.